There are 50 million student athletes in America that play student sports. And there are multiple millions of teams that those kids play on. And I'm going to introduce you to one kid and one team that totally changed my coaching philosophy over the last few years. And I'd like to see what you think about it. Meet Cody and his dad, Larry. Larry's one of the most supportive tennis parents that I've ever had. And Cody is arguably the best player that I ever had in Powell, Wyoming. As a junior, I'd like you to put yourself in his place as parents and also as maybe a player. And as a junior, he went through the entire season undefeated. And he was our hope for our first individual state champion ever in my coaching, and the first one in 17 years at Powell High School. He went through regionals and didn't lose a set and was undefeated and went in as the #1 seed at state. And then at state tournament, he got beat in the first round by an unseeded player, long story. And then 2 rounds later, he got beat by a kid that he'd beaten at regionals. And as I sat there with him, it was unbelievable how devastated he was. And his parents were devastated, and my team was devastated. And I had to admit that I was extremely devastated too. And I got to thinking, we're all in the performance trap. And the performance trap for an athlete is when you base your self-esteem on whether you are winning or losing. You have a great day if you're winning, you have a horrible day if you're losing. Taken to its logical extent, the performance trap leads to winning at all costs and horrible behavior that we see in America with our athletes. Parents who are in the performance trap, they are too emotionally involved with their children. They are concerned about playing time and wins and losses, and they treat their kids better when they win than when they lose. It is so difficult to be a parent. But I realized that I was in the performance trap, and it really has started 13 years earlier when my future assistant coach came to me and she said, let's win some state championships together. And so I began my coaching career in tennis, and within 2 years, her kids, who I call future state champions, moved. And then over the next 13 years or 14 years, I had 17 kids that I had taught how to play beginning in the 7th grade, either move or were injured in non-tennis type of activities. And we were competing against the very biggest schools in the state, and I was doomed. I couldn't accomplish my goal, and I was frustrated. So I had tennis camps, and I had all this other type of stuff that I had lessons in the summer that were free, and a million different things that I was doing. And it never helped to win those state championships that I thought would happen at the very beginning. So I was buried deep in the performance trap and with Cody. And so what I did is I made a decision that I was going to change my coaching philosophy the next year to dig myself out of the coaching, out of the performance trap, and to dig my team out too. And so I made some changes, and we did 4 things because we wanted to have a more character-based program. We wanted to teach kids skills that they could use in their life instead of just winning and losing and making that the most important thing. So we began to do 4 things. And the first thing is that I have a little bracelet here. It says Edomitis on it. And Edomitis means expect to do more than your share. So I was clueless about this new coaching philosophy, and for a couple weeks I called it epididymis, which is part of a male reproductive system. So I taught biology. That wasn't that big of a deal, but anyway, it's expect to do more than your share. And this bracelet transformed our team. Just a little 8-cent bracelet. It was unbelievable what happened. And the example that I gave them the first day was an example about picking up balls. If you hit a ball over the fence, go get your ball and then pick up the rest, another person's ball. And if everybody does that, the balls get picked up very quickly. Well, picking up balls is the bane of my existence as a tennis coach. I've tried everything, lines, everything I could think of for every ball that's out. And I remember 4 years or 5 years ago, I had just had foot surgery. and I was in a boot and also riding a scooter. And I was out on the lawn picking up balls after practice, and it was driving me absolutely bonkers. Well, once we told our kids about expect to do more than your share, for the next 4 seasons, I never had to pick up a ball. Our best player would run out and pick the ball up that was the farthest away, and everyone else would follow him, and I never had to pick up another ball. And we gave bracelets. We gave these bracelets to anyone that did more than their share to benefit the team. And you can't believe the things that they did. We only gave 1 bracelet per person. But we talked about, out of the corner of our eye, we want to see you doing something that is going to benefit the team, and we will honor you for that. And we eventually gave out bracelets to every single person on the team, but they had to earn it. And for this 8 cent bracelet, it totally changed our culture and made it such a more of a compelling culture. So that was the first thing. The second thing we did was a thing called self-calls. And in tennis, you make all your calls anyway, okay? There's no line judges, there's no referees out there or anything like that. So you make every call. And a lot of teams, what they had is, we felt, was when in doubt, call it out. And so we wanted to do way more than that. We wanted to make self-calls. And a self-call is when you tick the net with your racket and nobody sees it, when you tick a ball and nobody sees it in the middle of a rally, when you hit a ball across the net or touch the net with any part of your body and nobody sees it, and you make the call on yourself, against yourself, for the other team. And the reason we emphasize self-calls is because we told them that who you are when nobody's looking is who you really are. And we honored self-calls anytime we saw one happen, and they happened nearly every match. The third thing that we did is we did a thing called player profile or player spotlight. On Tuesdays and Thursdays after practice, we spent 5 minutes. We had 2 people walk up to the front, and everybody else was around them. And we asked, what do these 2 people bring to the team that makes our team a better place? And so we had students share what these kids meant to the team and what they meant to them. And this became our favorite activity after practice every Tuesday and Thursday. And if I ever missed it, they called me on it. They said, "Can we please do player profile?" That's one of the most important things that we do. I'll never forget the email that I got from a parent. And they said, "Thank you so much for the player profile that you did with my son this afternoon. We always knew he was a leader, but he never knew he was a leader until the kids told him this afternoon. Thank you for what you're doing to help every kid be a better person." Wow. Player profile, player spotlight. The last thing we did is we did a whole new thing with our goals for our team. And so we sat everybody down at the beginning of the year, and we asked them to think about the most successful person that they knew. It could be their parent, it could be an athlete, it could be a scientist, it could be anybody that they knew that was successful. And we listed all the characteristics of those people, 50 to 100 characteristics on a big whiteboard. And then we asked, what percent of these characteristics are based on attitude and what are based on aptitude or the DNA of the person? And it turns out that 99% of the success of the person is actually based on the attitude. And then we asked the kids, which of these attitudes can we live with as team goals for our team this year? And so we selected the attitudes that we thought were best. And my team, they picked some attitudes like honesty, humility, hard work, optimism, and caring. And then we asked them, what does this look like every day at practice? What does this look like during a match? And what does this look like in your home life or in the halls? And so we set the goals in front of them, and then those were our team awards at the end of the year. We gave them the Honesty Award, the Optimism Award, the Hardworking Award, and those were just as important as our Most Valuable Player Award. And so what happened is that this got our team out of the performance trap. And Cody won state for the first time in 17 years. It was the first time we'd ever had a kid win state, and he won it with courage. He won it through his attitude, and because of his attitude and because of his character. And it was unbelievable, and it just released him from the pressure of having to win. And the team that I had is the most important thing that happened. And these kids, what they learned is they learned to care about one another, to expect the best from each other. They learned to have integrity. And they also learned to set behavioral goals that they could reach. And by far the best team I've ever had. And what I'd really like you to do is I'd like you to think about the other 50 million kids out there that are in youth sports today. So many in the performance trap, and so many exhibiting very poor behavior, parents, coaches, and athletes. And wouldn't it be better if we expected our kids and our coaches, to take a more character-based approach in their attitudes towards their team? And kids would learn attitudes, they would learn character traits, and become better people in the process. And then let winning and losing take care of itself. I have bracelets for people. Expect to do more than your share. And there's one catch to this bracelet. You need to wear it for a week and then ask yourself, how can you help your family, your job, the people that you're around? How can you help to make a better, compelling culture because you expect to do more than your share? So I'm going to throw these out, and if there's not enough of them, come see me tonight. And thank you for letting me share.